Hello. Hello. I haven't really been doing any roleplay content recently. I'm very sorry about that. But I thought I would just come on here in a more casual setting, have a chat, and maybe do some traditional triggers. I mean, let's be honest, I don't know half the time whether triggers are like commonly liked ones or not. I don't exactly do a bunch of research, and any of the research I do is a sort of a sample size of one myself, because I listen to ASMR almost every night for like 10 years, maybe more. Yeah, that's how bad my sleep is. You know, and like when you go to work in the morning and then people are like, oh my god, you look so tired. What's wrong? You look tired. And then you don't want to be that annoying person who's just got like the same answer every time, because like people act like they're concerned, but they're actually just nosy. You know, when people are like, oh my god, yes, you're so tired, you look tired, you okay? And I'm like, you don't actually care if I'm okay or not. And that's fine, but just don't ask, you know? I think I'm definitely someone where it's like, I would actually rather be dead silent and say nothing to you than be like empty platitudes, like a fake concern. So yeah, but I honestly have been super busy, and I've got so many different roleplay videos. I've got so many different roleplay ideas that like come up in my head, and you know what's so annoying? They actually always come to me when I'm just about to fall asleep. When I'm like on the edge of sleep, I like suddenly get these video ideas, and maybe it's just because I'm deliriously tired and sleepy that I think they're cooler ideas than what they like actually are. But anyway, I've been really busy, and I thought maybe I would just like tell you a little bit about what I've been up to, because I don't really talk about that much on here, and I mean, it's exciting to me, but it might be boring enough. Yeah, it might be boring enough that maybe I can bore you to sleep. And I also have some triggers and things that I think are cool triggers anyway. So I'll just give you a quick preview. And oh my goodness, this time I actually have headphones in so I can hear what you can hear. So we're hearing the same stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll give you like a quick preview if you're interested in some of the triggers, or I hope that they're things that you like, but if they're not, then you can probably just skip them. I don't know if I'm gonna do timestamps or not at this stage, but maybe I will. We'll see. I'm like serious. I've been on things. I've been like doing stuff. So yeah. Okay, so the first trigger that I'm actually just going to quickly show you what the triggers that I've got are. I've got a paint palette, a palette for mixing paints. I'm not actually going to get the paints out because on the weekend I went to a Renaissance fair and it was so much fun. It I went to a Renaissance fair on the weekend, and I fully painted my face and my legs, and I was a goblin, so I was like green, and so I was actually mixing my face paints on this palette, and I just ended up getting green everywhere. And I'll show you some photos. I'll like put them up on the screen. I'll put them up on the screen. I'll show you some photos of how my cosplay turned out, like my goblin cosplay, and oh my god, it looked so much better than that video I did. I did like 3 tries at goblin makeup before I settled on the one that I did at the Ren Fair, but I was really happy with how it turned out. I was kind of like I guess just like a cute goblin, some would say, and then I ended up actually like randomly making friends at the Renaissance Fair. Everyone's really friendly, so that was really cool. But yeah, I will make sure that I put some photos up on the screen, and let me know if any of you guys have ever dressed up as a goblin. To be honest, I found it really freeing. Like, there was something so free about not having to conform to any expectations of like beauty or conventional attractiveness. To be honest, the shackles of like constantly having to feel like you look acceptable can be like fairly debilitating at times, especially in public. Like if you have social anxiety, it can be really difficult. I know that's a real first world problem though, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. But it was really nice. I was sort of just like being a goblin and like being kind of random and running around. Also, I'm very short, so it helps. I think I can get away with acting a bit strange sometimes, because I mean, especially in the goblin gear, I think I just looked a little bit like childish, which was fun. But yeah, and I found there were like other people at the Renaissance Fair also dressed up as goblins, and I found them and I made sure to like chat to them, and there were these guys that were, look, so if you are not from Australia, you won't know what this means, but there are these things called essays, these like, basically they're like essays or lads, or it's kind of like the Australian equivalent of I guess a chav in the UK. I'm actually not sure what the equivalent would be in, like, for the US. I've actually got no idea. I don't think it's not really like it's kind of like the metropolitan version of a redneck, I guess. Like someone who's, I don't know how to describe it, but there were these guys that were dressed up as like Eshe's goblins or like chav goblins, and I went up and I went up to them, and that was kind of like the highlight of my day, because I just thought that it was so creative, that that idea of being this like modern, I guess, metropolitan character, but like you're still a goblin. And they had, one of them was wearing like a matching Adidas tracksuit, and the other one had a bunch of like really crappy tattoos that were like painted on with black paint, like everywhere, all over himself. So I thought that was really creative. I mean, everyone looked amazing. Like quite seriously, I think the buy panic of being at Renaissance Fair is, it's so intense, because especially if you're like more of like an alternative person. Okay, so paintbrushes. So it's like when I'm mixing up some paint. especially if you're like a more alternative sort of leaning person, when you're out and about in the world, you know, just in the suburbs, in your local government area, in your LGA, you basically see a bunch of people who just, you're like, whatever. Like, no one looks ethereal. Like, no one like really catches your attention that much, especially when you are a bit of like a fantasy nerd, or like you like role-playing games, and you like you're not really into mimosas at brunch sort of thing. And then like you go to the Renaissance Fair, and everyone, maybe not everyone, but everyone is so beautiful. Like, it was, I honestly, I had to really stop myself from, like, I was just staring at people, and that's not okay. And that's not okay, you know. I'm just getting the finer details here. Yeah, that's not okay. I really can't be, I was just like dead ass. I was a goblin. Like, I was this like dead ass goblin, and I was just like staring at people, just sitting there, just looking. And then like even people I was talking to, I was like, yes, okay, yes, hello. And it's almost like I forget that people can be so beautiful, and you see the effort that people put into their costumes, and it just makes you yearn for this world where everybody's just dressed up like elven princesses, and like evil dark villains and wizards and druids and all this cool stuff. And I mean, like, some people are a bit more lore accurate, like some people are a bit more historically accurate, but I'm kind of more into like the surrealist fantasy stuff. So, yeah. And there was, if you've never been to a Ren Fair, if you've never been to one, there's a bunch of activities that you can watch, little events, and I watched the jousting. But to be honest, obviously it has to be safe, right, for all parties, the horses and the knights in their armor, but like nobody gets hurt at all, and that's great and that's good. But there's just that little part of me that's like, oh, it'd be kind of more entertaining if someone got at least like, pushed off a little bit or a little bruised or something. I really, I should probably stop talking, because I feel like that kind of talk will get me demonetized, but it's my curiosity. They had archery, and a bunch of other events there as well. And I was so good I didn't end up actually like purchasing anything. So yeah, that was this weekend. But anyway, the reason why I was talking about that is because of the paint palette. This and everything else was covered in green. I ended up getting like my green face paint that I had on. Your green face paint. The green face paint I had on, I ended up getting all over the like collar of my shirt. So it was like all over here. And it was also like just on my, it was on my shorts. And it was on, oh hey, here's my ears that I got. See, I made these ears. ended up just getting green. So the way I did these ears, I had this green felt, and then I got some pipe cleaners, like these. Got some pipe cleaners, and I created like a skeleton for the ears. So there's pipe cleaners all around here, and then I made one for the other side, and then I cut the felt to size, and I literally just glued the felt on both sides to the pipe cleaners so that they looked like little cute button nose. No, so they looked like little goblin ears. Tiny little goblin ears for your goblin face. And they put your ears onto your face, and then you could be the cutest goblin I've ever seen in my life. Just in case you ever want to make a goblin ears like this. I know they're not very professional, but again, this is like not my job, so anyway, and then I wrapped the same pipe cleaners that I used for the boning of the ears. It was connected and wrapped, that same pipe cleaner was wrapped around this plastic headband, and then I just used a hot glue gun to fix it all to the plastic headband. And then I painted my ears. I made them pink at the ends, and then I just painted a little bit of more of a muted green because I didn't want them to be so pastel, like they were just looked really bright, and I wanted my green to be more of a yellowy green. So, and I put some fake piercings. If you want to have a look, I'll show you. What do you think? I put some fake piercings on my goblin ears. And then I got this, I guess this is kind of like a type of ribbon. Like it's one of those things where you just purchase it by the meter or whatever. And I just kind of hot glued that to the top because I didn't want the white, the white headband looking too obvious, because obviously my hair is not white. My hair is very much of the darkest brown varieties. Anyway, I hope you like my ears. But I got green everywhere, so I've become quite accustomed to using this paint palette. I'm not normally much of a tapper. In my everyday life, I tap on things a lot. And I get distracted. Okay, let me just quickly try and get a bit more of this detail on your beautiful face.